Good morning. You're watching live the Get Busy Livin Podcast, and I'm Dr. Scott from the Healthy Habits Club, and also Six Sense Acupuncture. I'm a registered acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist. And we have the wonderful Rena Liu this morning. And thank you so much, Rena, for joining us this morning. So I'll just start the morning off with the usual question, Rena. Well, what gets you out of bed every morning?
That's a good question. Before I start, can I just take the opportunity to thank you first? Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, I
And
appreciate it.
it's actually my first time, so thanks for pushing me off my comfort zone to do this. Thank you. So
I
to
did that
answer
about 12 months ago.
you,
I did my first podcast. I was so nervous, so upset about it, and now it's just like it's all good.
yeah,
It's
it was
just
part
a
of life now,
podcast,
right?
just a podcast.
Yeah,
But
I'm
it's very
pretending.
important. It's very important because we get to know who you are,
Yeah,
and more importantly about your business.
thank you,
So,
thank you. Yeah,
so thank you for your time. Much appreciated, Rena.
that's
And
okay.
as
Pleasure.
I said, so tell us, Rena, what gets you out of bed every morning?
This beautiful world. And I just every morning I just feel so grateful we live in Australia. Yeah, it's such a beautiful country, and also to get to talk and help with interesting, fun people like yourself, like I'm talking to you today. That's one of the things got out of my bed. First thing said, oh, I'm going to talk to Scott today.
Uh, yeah, that's exactly right. So that's interesting. You mentioned Australia. So where are you from?
I'm from China, so I think I like your what do you do Chinese medicine. I think that's first got me interested. Oh, a non-Chinese doing Chinese medicine. I really want to find out more about you. I think that's how we got connected in the first place. Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
yeah. So because we talked about that previously, because China hasn't had the best of histories when it comes to their people, and um, so yeah, I understand why you said that you're in Australia because to a certain extent we have a lot more freedoms than the poor Chinese people have. Is that a fair assumption?
Not poor Chinese people. Depends how you look at it. But I love
Yeah.
Australia just because of the peaceful environment and also the clean environment as well. Obviously, everything else comes with that. And yeah, I've lived here for almost 30 years now. So I came here in mid 90s with just two suitcases. That's always say nothing much. Didn't know anything about money. Didn't know what Australia was like. So I just landed here with two suitcases to do my master degree. And here I am still in Australia almost 30 years later talking to you.
Wow. So tell us about that, how you got that opportunity. I just want to also mention that I apologize. I didn't mean to say poor as in financially poor. I just meant to say that they've been treated ill by the government in the past.
Yes and no.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So tell us about that. Tell us how did you get to come to Australia with just two suitcases?
Uh, yeah, very good question. Actually, I guess back then I didn't really know what I was doing. It was more like following the norm because back then China wasn't as advanced as it is nowadays. I mean, at least economy wise. And so all the talented people wanted to go overseas to look for better opportunities. So I was just one of those people wanted, had opportunity coming up. We had some family sponsored us, and I thought, okay, I grabbed the opportunity, just came here. Like I said, packed up everything, mm, leaving behind the family, and just yeah, arrived in Australia. It was quite thinking back now, I quite admire myself. I had guts to do all of that, not really knowing what I was walking into. And obviously, I've landed here. I realized, gosh, I know nobody here, no family, no friends, no support.
Yeah, I totally agree. How old were you at the time?
Sorry.
How old were you at the time when you came to Australia?
Early 20s. So I was here to do my
Oh,
master's
okay.
degree, yeah, and I worked for a few years. So basically, I left a really good job behind as well, and yeah, but I never regretted it. Never regretted it.
Yeah, yeah. So I totally agree. That's a huge step to go to a new country.
Mm.
did uh, did you come by yourself or did you have a partner?
I came by myself first, and my husband, joined me later. And I came here first just because English was I did my first degree in English. So English is kind of more, was able to help me a bit more because my English was better, right? So I came here first. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you helped to um, uh, I suppose while you're at uni, if you had any there were any Chinese students that were coming across, I suppose you could help to translate for them
Oh,
as
back
well.
then, no, back then there wasn't, that was mid 90s, right? So there
Mm.
was not many Chinese here at all. And that's another challenge, being in a minority group. And it
Yeah, I
was really
understand.
hard to find a job, to to mingle with locals as well, because I looked different and I didn't really know anybody in the local community, and I was here to study. And I think my focus was also all I knew back then was study hard, right? You get Chinese is quite big on education, so study hard, get your degree, get your diploma, and hopefully you will find a good job, and your life will be taken care of. So I was kind of in that mindset back then.
So you did your masters here, is that right, in
Yeah, I
Australia?
did my master degree here.
So what was your degree that you did in
I
China?
did a degree about international business, so I chose it because of my Asian background. I thought, okay, my background would help. But that was an eye-opening experience because the way things are learned here is quite different from how the Chinese education system works. So that's a really good experience, even though I didn't really get to use what I learned from that degree. But I think the thinking and the experience really helped me to step forward in a different direction.
Tell us about that. Tell us how was the education system different from over there to here?
Like in China, it's more like student. It's two parts of it. Like traditionally in Chinese culture, the expectation is you respect the elders, you respect the seniors, and your teaching as a profession is highly regarded in Chinese culture. So the teachers, no matter how young or how old are age-wise, they are treated as seniors, as elders. So you are supposed to respect the teachers. So that's kind of the norm. And also, partly my personal take from that is because of that. So you are supposed to listen to whatever the teacher tells you. Yeah, so the teacher is supposed to know everything, and the students learn everything from the teacher. So there isn't much independent thinking, or
Yeah, critical
less
critical
independent
thinking.
thinking compared to how the education system works here. Especially, when I was doing my master degree, the professor would just give us a topic, get us to do all the research, to do all the thinking ourselves. They would guide us, but as a student, I was probably pretty much doing a lot of things our own, like own research, structure the assignment, etc., right? But in China, you're supposed to follow certain framework that the teacher set up for you, even as a master degree, probably. But again, I didn't really do master degree in China, so I could be wrong in that aspect.
I, 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 I agree with you because I didn't actually go to China to. In our degree, we actually did get the opportunity to go to China to study Chinese medicine. So some of my cohort students, they actually did go. They did take that opportunity, and you could take the last year of your clinic hours off by going to China. But the only reason why I didn't go is because previous students said there is a problem. There is one problem. If you ask a question and the teacher doesn't know, they'll just say to you, "Oh, I'll tell you later. I'll show you later," or they'll say, "Oh, that's a silly question."
Yeah, I think that would make them really uncomfortable because that image, they're supposed to be the wiser one. They want to know everything. So I guess that's put the unfair expectation to the teacher themselves as well. Not everyone knows everything, right? And but here I found that's more democratic. The teacher would, because they don't have that social expectation on themselves. They may feel more comfortable.
Well, they're probably not used to it either, because the students in China don't ask those questions. They just do as the teacher tells them to do. So that's what they found it difficult to get information from the teachers because of that reason.
Okay,
so I understand. I get what you're saying, because the students just would, the local students would just, they wouldn't ask any questions. They just follow and then write down notes. So they told me, they said they just write down notes, and then they just go and do whatever they ask them to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were used to it. And also it could be that because they might have questions in their head, but out of the respect to the teachers, and if they sense the teacher may not know the answer, they wouldn't feel comfortable to ask the teachers.
So they got to go and figure it out themselves. So
ask them in private.
Ask them in private, when there's no one else around. Yeah. So so it would have been very difficult for the teachers with these Westerners coming in and asking questions that they don't know the answers to.
Because they didn't know the norm.
Yeah. So they said they normally just say, "Oh, I'll show you later. I'll talk to you later," and then they never speak to them. Then they never speak to them.
Okay, that's interesting.
So they just never, and some of the students are going up, try and find them, and they just say no, go away. So I get it. So you're right. So then you came to you did your degree over there. You came over here. What did you do your master's in here in Australia?
International business.
Again, okay. Same.
Oh no, my first degree was not in international. My first degree was English.
Oh, English. Oh, okay.
So that's how I said, like, it really took my life and my career to a totally different direction, which is good. I think looking back now, I quite enjoyed my whole life journey. I always kind of, up to a certain point, I would take a different direction. I would get a bit uncomfortable in the comfort zone and would take a different direction. So that was probably the first major different direction I took. Come to Australia, did something totally different from what I was doing in China, and really, find there's a total new world outside what I used to.
That's for sure. I think it would be the same if I went to China. It'd be a culture shock as well. So you come to Australia. You started your degree. So where did you do your degree? Was it was it in one of the major cities or?
Oh, I was in Adelaide.
Adelaide.
So I did that in Adelaide, and that's So after I finished my degree, my husband and I came to Sydney. We moved to Sydney because Sydney obviously was a big city, and still is, right? And we just believe there will be more opportunities. Like I said, because as a minority, it's very hard to find a job. I don't know why about Adelaide now these days. Back then, it was really hard. and so I thought we came to Sydney. So that was another big step we took.
Yeah, Adelaide to Sydney, yes. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a quite big city, really. I was going to say country town, but it's not country town anymore. It's got too many people.
Yeah, back then it was more like a country town. We came to Sydney, and even with Chinese background, we were not quite used to Sydney. It was like there's people everywhere, there's traffic everywhere. Took us a little while to get used to the big city feel of Sydney. Yeah.
So excuse me. Yeah, that's it. So tell us about your experience in uni as well in your masters. Did you get any help from the university?
Yeah, I did. The university was always very helpful. They support the international students. Yeah, they were always really helpful. So I'm quite grateful for that.
I suppose it was a long time ago in the 90s that we didn't have many international students as such, but now there's heaps. There's so many.
Mm-hmm.
I know at the universities now in my cohort, there's a lot of international students that come across to study, mainly because there are a few people in charge that are Chinese, so they're bringing in a lot of Chinese and Korean students into Australia, into the Chinese medicine cohort. And also, in my years at the casino, I used to work at the casino in the city in Brisbane, and there'd be a lot of Korean students come in. And I learned a little bit of Korean from them, actually. Because what they do is because the university is just up the road. It's only a 5-minute walk. So they'd come from the university, they come up to the casino and they get their free coffee. Because they had there was these vending machines, and they gave out free coffee. So they'd come up in droves. There's heaps of them. There was hundreds of them that would come in sometimes.
Oh, really?
Day. Yeah, and then they'd hang out there all day. They'd have coffee. That's where they'd hang out and have coffee. And then when they got rid of the vending machines, and
and then
they didn't come in. Yeah, they stopped coming in. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about their culture and also how to speak Korean as well. So I was going to say, so you got your degree. Did you start working straight away after you got your degree, your master's?
Yeah. Lucky, like I said, we came to Sydney and found a job in a very small Chinese company. Basically, like I said, couldn't find anything else because we didn't have local experience. I think that's still the case these days. When you don't have, coming from overseas, when you don't have local, regardless how experienced you are, based on your, your work experience at your home country, it's not really highly regarded here in Australia. So because of the lack of local experience, so we had to start from scratch. So I worked for a very small Chinese firm for about a year or so, and then lucky enough, I found another job. And thanks to my English, so I found another job in an insurance company. That's when I started my corporate life. So I've been working in the insurance company for financial services for almost all of my career in Australia. Yes.
Yeah, gotcha.
I resigned. Yeah.
Okay. So you learned which sort of insurance were you involved in?
General insurance. So I used to work mainly in the home and motor space. Home and motor, so we call general insurance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then later
I just learned something. I didn't know that. So your home
and motor. Yeah.
Motor insurance, yeah.
So there's general insurance and life insurance. Life insurance, as we all know, I think most people will know what life insurance is. Your income protection, your death, and your trauma insurance, and your TPD, and that's life insurance, basically dealing with And then all the other insurance types are categorized as, we call it, general insurance. So which is your property insurance, your home and motor, And as a business, you have your business insurance, your commercial insurance, commercial properties. So that's general insurance.
Okay. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. Okay, so that's general insurance. All right.
Yes, yes.
So which one did you sort of resonate more to? Was it home insurance? Was it car insurance? Life insurance?
I didn't really work in the product space. So I
Okay.
had always been an analyst. So I was always playing with the numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
Financial analyst and then portfolio analyst. So become a senior analyst later on when I resigned from my job. So I was always dealing with the numbers, supporting the product,
I understand.
the business functions. And
Yep.
to me, my love is dealing with the numbers, doing the analysis, trying to understand what the numbers are telling us. I think that's where my kind of my passion with the number and the money come from could be. I still trying to figure out.
Yeah. Okay, so you could tell a lot about a business just by their numbers. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. The numbers are quite interesting, fascinating.
Yeah, that's true. You can't.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, that's right. The other thing is then you can test and measure. The only way you can test and measure is your numbers. You can test service, yes, to a certain extent, but it still comes back to your numbers. Is that right?
I think it's quite important for us as individuals to understand our own numbers, which is our own financials, right? Which is part relating to what I'm doing now. Understand what your money is doing for you. And also as a business owner, regardless how small, how large they are, to understand your numbers, understand your balance sheet, understand your P&L, understand your cash flow, they're all quite critical to success. So basically, in a way, if you look at that way, number drives a lot of things in our life.
Yeah, that's exactly right. What was I going to say? So you resigned from your. Well, you sound like you did it for a long time in the insurance industry and finance industry. So what made you get out of it? Why did you get out of it? You said it was a pretty well-paying job. So what made you get out of it?
Good question. It's a long story. Do we have time for that?
Yeah.
Long story. Yeah. So like I said, I came to Australia to I found that job in the corporate world, and took me 10 years to get comfortable to invest. Like I come from a really typical Chinese mindset. All I knew was study hard, and then you find a job, you work hard, and then you save. All right. So looking back now, back then, using what I know now is back then had that savers mindset. Working hard and save. That's all I knew. But like I said, because we didn't have any support here at all, and I knew I had to rely on myself, especially for my retirement. So I decided to learn what money really was. So I started to read all the money magazines, all the investment books, basically learning everything from scratch because I wanted to take control of my life. Really, that was the main drive. So it took me 10 years to get comfortable to start to invest. So we started buying properties while I was working the corporate job. And then fast forward a few years, I realized I wanted something more. I didn't know what that really was. My job was good, the pay was good, and everything was, looks nice from outside. But deep down, I knew something was missing. I didn't know what that was. I actually took 1 year career break, like back in the 17, 18, 1 year career break, hoping to find out what I really wanted to do. And I didn't. I went back to the corporate job and I decided to do part-time. And I said, okay, I need to, give myself might be more time and do part-time. And on the side, we did some other investment. And so we did some development on the side, but I still couldn't find that fulfilling. And fast forward a few years again, COVID started. I think COVID was a big awakening call in a way looking back now. I think because you might remember, in 2020, every day on the news, you hear all the news about death and illness and life. So that's kind of flashing in my mind all the time. I think kind of a awakening up call. And we had some in my own family, my own dad was become really ill, and my in-laws become really ill, and one of them passed away. So all of that coming together, become like a awakening call. And I realized life is truly too short. And I wasn't really enjoying my job. And I started questioning myself, what am I really doing here? When I don't really enjoy what I'm doing. And I knew that. So one part of me, I want to go. One part of me wanted to stay because it was really comfortable. You get good pay, you got good job, the environment, the company culture, and the team, everything was great. But I wanted to go. So I was constant in this battle with myself. Do I go or do I not go? So it's like an internal conversation all the time with myself. In the end, it become really stressful. So the last 12 months before I resigned, it took me almost like a year to finally make up my mind to go or not to go. And so eventually in October 2022, I made a call. I said, I had enough. I don't want to waste my time like this because I find it's become too stressful. It's actually impacting my health. So you in Chinese medicine, you know that your mood, your mental state really impact your body. And yes. I didn't know whether it was because I'm too stressful, or which one's chicken, which one's egg. Is that because my body is not coping well because I'm too stressful? Is that because I don't really enjoy the job? I become stressful. I don't know which one. So eventually I realized I have to go. So I gave up my job, and thanks to my because we have been investing for all these years. So I think I was lucky enough. I was able to make a call. I don't really need the money. But then even psychologically, that's still quite a big thing for me, a big breakthrough for me to tell myself, I'm not going to work for money anymore, because to that point, I realized I was staying at the job just because of the money. So it was such a free moment when I resigned from my job. I realized I was really breaking free. To me, that's what true financial freedom is. When you have the power to say, I know what I want, I'm going to go for it. And you break free for that social norm that you have to work for money.
Yeah.
So that was a big step for me when I resigned in November. My last day was mid-November 2022. So that was like a year and a half ago.
So, okay. So I commend you for doing that, because it was really hard for me as well to break out and do go straight into business, I should say, because they don't prepare you very well in uni for business. They don't teach you much at all, actually, in our degree.
No, not about money, not about business. Yeah.
No. The other thing, funny, did you get much out of your degree, out of the master's degree with
about
international business?
About business?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did learn a lot, and I found it really, really useful.
Yeah, right.
Your business planning, your strategy, and about leadership. Yeah, that's quite useful. Like I said, I didn't really get to apply to some extent at my job, but really helped me as a person.
Yeah, yeah. And see, they didn't teach us anything about, residual income. They didn't teach us anything about passive income.
Not in the degree I did. So I had to, like I said, when I came to Australia, there was mid-90s, and China back then wasn't as advanced. So I didn't even know what a credit card was. So I come with little money in my pocket, right? So I had to learn from scratch. And basically I found that's one of the key reasons I really like what I'm doing now, because I can help more people to understand what money really is. And I find a lot of people stuck with their job or their business.
Yeah.
But if they know the true power of money or of their mindset,
Yeah.
there's so much more they can do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
hallelujah. So that,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I was going to say, so I see now you're a money mindset and success coach,
Uh-huh.
and so tell us about that business now. Tell us about a success story you've helped someone with.
Oh, good questions. Quite a few. Let me think. There's a typical one I help with this gentleman. He came from a really ordinary background. So his dad worked hard all his life. And he picked up from his dad working hard. I think most of us get to pick that from our parents, right? Working hard.
Yeah.
And to him, money equals hours he put in. Right? He always look at money by the hours. And he's not comfortable to ask him for money either or ask him for help either, because he come from the space of lacking. So he would work hard and it would just get by. And when he started to do his own business, he's feeling uncomfortable to ask for the payment or to ask for help, ask for the payment for the service he's providing. And he always assess his value by the hours rather than take one step back. He's not really assessing his service as by value. It's actually by hours. He'll look at, how many hours I need to do this? And he would charge. He would try to work out. He used to be a teacher. And he would work out, what was my hourly rate when I was working as a teacher? And that's how he charges for his service. So to me, that's a kind of money mindset, because he hasn't really quite realized money represents value. So
Yeah.
people buy your service because they appreciate the value you're providing.
Yes.
They don't look at how many hours you're putting in. But for him as a service provider, because of the way he was brought up to believe, is that worked for his whole life. It's trading hours for money.
Money, yeah.
So he had such difficult time to really pull off his business because he always undercharged for his service. So in a way, that's not sustainable mentally and not sustainable as a business as well. So that's a good. So eventually, so I worked with him, and he realized. So he truly appreciates the value, what he's really doing, and it all comes back to for someone to appreciate the service, the value of your service. It really drills down to your limited belief about yourself. If you think you're not good enough, you won't appreciate the value you're providing people. And you won't feel comfortable to charge for the service, for the value you're providing to other people. So money is just a surface issue. But deep down, it all comes back to our limited belief of ourselves, I think.
Oh, big time. Big time.
Yeah, you're a business owner. You will relate to that, will you?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. This we are our own worst enemies, like in every way. But when it doesn't have to be our business, it can be our health, it can be relationships. Yeah, it all gets thrown on the pile here. And yeah, so I understand. I get yeah. So that's so. Give us another one. Give us another success story that you've helped someone.
Another success story is so the funny thing about money mindset. I mean, to me, when I call myself money mindset, there are really two parts. One is about money. One is about your mindset. As you know, they're all kind of very closely related.
Yes.
And so one lady came to me. She, again, like I said, it's on the surface. So she couldn't decide. She had a certain amount of money. She couldn't decide whether she was going to use the money to buy investment property or to buy herself her own property. As we started to drill into what was really stopping her, and realized it's actually not about money. And that's because, she only had this much money. It's actually, she doesn't really know what she was going to do next. So she hasn't got a clarity of what she truly wants in the next 10 or 20 years. So once we get clarity around that, I do not need to tell her, okay, number wise, with this much money, is it make sense for you to buy investment property, or is it make sense for you to buy your own property? She has the answer for herself. Once she gets that clarity, she knows clearly what she wants, and then she can go from there. So that's the power of life coaching. We don't really give you answers, but we help you to find your own answers within. Everyone has their own answers within if we dig deep enough.
Yes, that's right. All right, so we'll move on. So tell us, Rena, what's your ideal client, or what's your avatar?
The ideal client is probably a bit like reflection of myself. Like I realized, like, took me 10 years to get comfortable to invest, and then probably another 10 years to really find what I truly want to do, which is what I'm doing now. And so I think ideal client is someone that's driven, they're already successful, by the normal social standard, they're successful, but deep down, they wanted something else. They know what they have now is not enough. They want to have a different life. They want to be better, but they probably don't really know what that is. But on the surface, they think the money, something's holding them back, but they think it's money. So they may not feel comfortable to save. They may not feel comfortable to invest. They have all the should, they could, I should do this, I should invest, I could do something else one day, but they never take that action. Something's holding them back, but they know they wanted something else.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll go on to the last question. So tell us, Rena, what ideas or methods would you use to achieve lifelong longevity?
Taking from my key learnings from the last few years, the key learnings like back from after COVID. I've always been a big believer in having a healthy diet, eating fresh food, exercise. But the last few years, what I really learned is your peace of mind is your number one priority to have a healthy. If you want to have a longevity, your peace of mind. Nothing is more important than your peace of mind. Nothing is more important than your health. So that's
I tend to agree with that. If you're constantly stressed all the time, then you're just going to be. It's just going to create bad thoughts. It's just human nature. So if you're, because that's what is affecting society completely now. Like just about everyone I speak to in the same boat. They're worried about, I have to do this and get this done. I have to be there by a certain time, and but they forget what they're missing in that view of what's going on in their life. And yes, you are right. You have to watch what you eat. You have to exercise. You have to. So that's the three pillars for me: that your nutrition, what you put in your body, the water, your food.
That's right.
The exercise. You have to move. If you don't use, you lose. That's what one of my acupuncture teachers. She was Chinese. She used to say that all the time. You don't use, you lose.
That's right. The same thing with your mind, right? You don't get to use your mind power, you lose it. And I mean, you're Chinese, Chinese medicine, how Chinese medicine works, right? So they are strong believer in that your mind and your mood impacts your body directly. I mean, it's very hard to explain if you use Western science, but it is true, because I had first-hand experience when I was going through that last few years working on the corporate job. I get so stressful, and it totally impacted my body, and I couldn't sleep. I had really bad sleep, and I would wake up, feel tired next day. And once I started meditation, and once I break free from that race, I felt so much free, and a lot of things came back to normal now.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Rena. You were concerned about not being able to talk enough on the podcast, but geez, you did a lot of talking. So thank you so much for
Thank you for the opportunity. Tell us a bit more. What do you do?
I'm a doctor. This is my podcast.
It's your podcast. I'm not allowed to ask questions.
Of course you can. So I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine. So I help. I've got two businesses: 6 Sense Acupuncture. 6 Sense Acupuncture is more to do with pain, and also Chinese herbal medicine. Which Chinese herbal medicine is for the internal organ issues like gallstones, kidney stones, heart valve prolapses, and stenosis, and also if they've got a fatty liver or they've got gut issues, all sorts of array of things that herbal medicine helps. And as I said, acupuncture is great for pain. And also I've got the Healthy Habits Club. That's the banner in the background. And that's to do with weight loss, because I found that 70% of all the problems I saw, 70% of those issues were diet related. Because it's not our fault. It is our fault because we've let it happen. But basically now we're bombarded with nothing but garbage food. It's everywhere. You can't avoid it. You drive down Sydney, it's even worse than Brisbane. Like Brisbane's pretty bad, but Sydney's just next level. I've been there a few times, and it's just in your face everywhere. You can't avoid it. You visit McDonald's on every corner. There's a Hungry Jack's on every corner. There's a KFC on every corner. Yeah. So it tells you something when the fruit and veg market isn't open 24/7, but McDonald's and KFC are.
Oh, that's a good observation. That's true. That's true.
The butcher isn't open 24/7. So yeah, we're up against it. It's in our face every day. So if we just changed, even if we just changed 20% of our diet, if we changed our diet to 80% natural foods, a lot of these chronic diseases would go away. But see, people just don't have the discipline because they've been conditioned.
Yeah, action mindset.
Yeah, well, it all comes back to what's in, oh, that's available, I'll just go and eat it. And then it doesn't. It's not the 20% of your diet. It turns into 80% of your diet. The 80-20 rule, as they say. So 80% natural foods and 20% garbage. But the problem is it's the other way around. It's 80% garbage and 20% natural food. In some cases, like even in the younger people, I'm seeing it a lot. They're eating like 100% garbage. It's just, and they don't even realize they're doing it. So there you go. I just told you
so
what
good
I
on
did.
you promoting that to the society and the community.
Well, it comes back to education. Yeah, it all comes back to education, and we're up against it because it's so prolific. Like, how can you compete with $1 trillion marketing budget?
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. When you combine all the fast food chains, their marketing budget, poor old butcher and fruit and veg market guy, they're up against it. They're up against it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've think it's all coming back to that awareness.
Yeah. Well, the awareness has been taken away because it's saturated with all this information that's garbage. All right, there's my 5 cents.
Thank you for sharing that.
There's
Thank
my
you
5
again for
cents.
the opportunity.
Yeah, and so that was what I was just about to say. Thank you very much, Rena. Much appreciated for your time and those insights and very interesting background. I commend what you've done. You've gone to a new country. You've got your master's degree now, and you built yourself into a great business. And it is commendable because a lot of business owners don't have that mindset around money. So I get it. I understand. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
You've been watching the Get Busy Livin Podcast. I'm Dr. Scott and the lovely Rena Liu. And you have a wonderful day, guys. And join my 5-day walking challenge as well. And also the webinar this evening. The unexpected way to have a better social life, give up booze for protein. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.